fatty mother. We, for now, we are not, our project is not talking about the nutrition, but we produce this under livelihood project. So now we help our community how to reach the marketing, the buyer. We try already to bring their product to come to Dili, selling in the store here, but you know, sometimes it's still less buyer from the people. So now we try to approach school feeding program and hospital. How can get, or how can they include this product in their menu? So that's we want.
Helen, Rob has put the link for that recipe book that she's speaking about in the chat. There's a link.
Yes, well, and that's right. And yes, when I read that, I suddenly realized I was not recording this. So I've turned on the recording. We are now recording it from now on, but unfortunately we've missed that earlier bit, because we would like to, you know, we will try and put some of this on our LinkedIn group so that people who were not here, other people who might be interested in this topic can access it, because I think a lot of the problem with this whole food and nutrition debate, and even the concept of having champions, is champions are doing stuff, good stuff, in their own field, and yet sometimes their message isn't getting out to other people who are sometimes doing similar things. But you know,
yes, yeah.
I mean, we know this happens in Australia, this happens in any country, but since Timor is a small country, I think we can try to avoid it happening a bit more, perhaps. Now, I'm just wondering who these people are whose name up here is Galaxy. That's the brand of their phone, I gather, but I can't see their names, so I don't actually know who they are. Do they want to say anything? Any of you?
You have to unmute them, Helen.
Oh, right. Yes, that's true. Galaxy 10 or Galaxy. They can unmute themselves, I think, and I'm not in the right. Yes, I've got to unmute them through the chat, don't I? No,
through the participant list.
Oh, through the participant list. Right. Oh, yes, of course. Here we are. Yes. Now I will later also ask some of our agriculturalists to speak, because we've got a couple of people here involved in agriculture. And now Galaxy 10 or Galaxy 20, I'll unmute both of you and you can say something if you wish.
Oh yeah, hello.
Yes?
Sorry, Galaxy A20, it's me. I have to change my name. This is Frankie.
Gosh, now.
Hello?
Oh, I see. I have to ask them to unmute themselves. Oh, look, this is getting too complex for me. Anyway, look now. Who else would like to make a contribution to our discussion at this stage? Sorry, who's speaking now? Galaxy 20.
No, he's just muted himself again. Here he is.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Galaxy 20, yes.
Yeah, hello. Yeah.
Say something.
Right.
Oh, there you are, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for all the colleagues for very good information regarding to nutrition and food in Timor-Leste. Yes, it's very serious issue in Timor-Leste. Frankly speaking, I have no specialty in either in food or nutrition, but yes, I work in agriculture process.
Yes.
So nutrition is really directly related to agriculture. So what we are doing is we try to introduce nutrition sensitive farming. But yes, it's important for farmers and for students to understand nutrition food for using it in daily consumption. well, I would say that generally the nutrition problem is not only the availability of the food, but the lack of nutritious food, but the knowledge and understanding of nutritious food that we have. As Dr. Helen clearly mentioned, that nutrition is directly relevant to the education system. It's important to include in the school curriculum, but as what other countries do in Japan. So the really young students, they already have good nutrition type of food. So when the people, those students understand the kind of food that nutritious for themselves, either for the whole body or for the mind, and they are free to decide to consume. So we in Timor-Leste we still lack in this issue. As Paulo from WHP FP it's clearly mentioned that yes, well, if we are not really, I mean, the government and the public in general is not really serious by considering the nutrition and food insecurity is a problem. I mean, they do consider it a problem, but not a serious problem, not an urgent. So if we the only way to address the problem seriously is we should consider it urgent. So with the urgency, then we will come up with a structural approach, a systematic, sustainable approach, with wider approach from the whole source of resource, nature, unfortunately, I would say not only but consider the very
Now, you're breaking up a bit. Do you think you can put the phone nearer your mouth or something? Because we're having a little bit of difficulty hearing
okay.
sometimes. Yes.
So, sorry for that. Yes. So
Yes.
it's the to make it short. Yes, nutrition is a very complex issue. Not only for the food, but it's related to the uh, health, and yes, it's specifically direct to the water and sanitation. So it's also an issue, and so it's the approach has to become for multi-sectoral and multi ministerial approach, not only one specific approach. So it has to be a long-term discussion, and the solution have to be a long-term approach with more holistically. Yeah, and I would love to hear more nutrition and food security
Yes.
from the expert. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that point, because this last week's seminar was called Multidisciplinary Approaches to Hunger and Nutrition, for this very reason, that there are approaches from, you know, historians, sociologists, anthropologists, agriculture people. It needs to come from many different directions, and often those people don't talk to each other. So this is why we're having this series of discussions. Now, I don't know whether Galaxy A10 wants to say something, but I will ask Rob Williams also.
Hello.
If you'd like to say something about the role of the agricultural sector.
Hello, Helen.
Oh, Galaxy A10, yes.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, yes.
It's Jake.
Oh, it's Jake. Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, change the change the phone number. So. Yeah, it's Helen. Hi everyone. Hello, Bula Binaka from
Yes.
Pacific. Helen, I just give some comments about the nutrition. Sorry, I'm not the expert and nutritionist, but
Yes.
giving some comments, especially the system. So I think, Helen, we need to write any platform about how to break the system, especially in monitoring fiscal system. So back to the state budget and allocate budget. Usually we have like 1%, like Pauline was said. I think we must go through to break the system to guarantee that the sustainability of the food and nutrition must be affordable. So I just focus on the system, especially our policymakers. So this is very, I mean, this is more crucial to every sector. So if we fix the monitoring fiscal system, I think all good.
Well,
Even though we have all champions here, but if we didn't break the system, it will hard for us to go on through. I think the most priority is we need to revolution in the fiscal system. That's it.
yes, look, I think that is true, but simply putting more money into it of itself will not address it unless we know precisely how that money is going to be spent and on what. And I've seen this happen with education. People think all you need to do with education is put more money into it and it will be fixed. But the thing is, it won't be. So we've got to think a little bit further. But I do agree with you and with Paulino that the priorities of the government can be seen in its budget. Now, I see Rob Williams has turned on his camera. Would you like to say anything about the role of the agricultural sector or where you see this whole thing fitting in?
Oh, thanks, Helen. Thanks for the chance to talk. It's agriculture has an important role in Timor, as many farmers, many Timorese are outside the formal economy. So when you talk food nutrition, it's important to distinguish between rural and urban food nutrition. And most farmers and rural families, yeah, are poorly fed. And I think Gina's work last week showed very well that part of the problem is lack of diversity and lack of production of food at the farm scale. So agriculture is important to find ways that farmers can produce things like beans. As mentioned before, beans are such an important thing, and bean soup's a great nutritious meal. But how can they produce enough beans so that they don't get swamped, like the guava tree example before? As instead of having a couple of bean plants, how can you get more beans so the supply isn't swamped? And like the bean price in the market now is bizarre. It's like $3, $4, $5 a kilo for red beans in the market. Buying corn the other day in Dili market is $1 a kilo for corn. So the price is just unbelievable. And that doesn't help people's nutrition in Dili. But enough production in the country so there's access to enough food so that the 5 guava trees don't get swamped is really important. So agriculturists have a really role to play to increase production of enough nutritious food and at the farm level as well. Yep.
Right, I might just ask Robin Irwin, do you want to add anything as an agriculturalist also? I think, is that right?
Oh, I don't know if I'm really qualified. I mean, I just worked with Ego Lemos on the school garden program. So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I think that program is really important in just getting to children, you know, to understand nutrition and also to just bring good practices to agriculture. And, you know, if the kids can take that work home and influence their families, both in the countryside and, you know, the rural and the urban areas, I think it can have a big impact. You know, if people can start growing their own food at home and, eating that fresh food, that's great. But I really haven't been to Timor for a couple of years and been a bit out of touch. So I think others are probably better qualified.
Yeah. No, look, I think that the school garden program, again, is a good example in the sense of the government saying, yes, this is a good policy to have, but then not actually adequately funding it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
so
that's right. I mean, that
only
was
a small number of the schools actually have school gardens.
Yeah,
now
that's
we have 3 people here. We have 3 people here from Friendship Cities, and I don't know whether any of you, Moira's already said something, but Tom and Andy, how you see this from your particular district that you work with in Timor.
So, Helen, I'm friends of the Maasai, and I'm also interested. I'm also part of Friends of Timor-Leste Chemistry. So I think that what the chemists in Australia are trying to do is introduce much better, much more appropriate science teaching at particularly primary school level. And I believe that nutrition and the school gardens and cooking, it should be part of what primary school children are taught in schools. Our second point that happens in our experience in Timor-Leste is that there's very little equipment in any school to actually do anything. So if you want to cook or do something in any school or do any chemical experiment, which I think cooking in primary school is essentially a chemical experiment, there's no equipment to do it. So we need a bit more imagination in equipping schools if we want to have some experience of practical experience of doing things in schools. So we're the Friends of Timor-Leste Chemistry are very keen to work with you, Helen, on parts of that science, primary science curriculum. But we haven't actually been able to come to Timor-Leste in 2020. So.
No. Right. Yes, that's unfortunately the case. And let's hope next time you'll be able to come up to Timor. We are, what Tom is making reference to is actually my work on the advising the minister on the reform of actually secondary school curriculum, where we recommended rewriting the curriculum within the framework of 15 of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes.
One of which, of course, is end hunger and malnutrition. Another one is health. Another one, in fact, the first one we plan to launch into in year 10 is life on the land. So that a lot of these issues that actually Timorese secondary school kids never get confronted with will become part of their curriculum. And they will need to go out and interview their parents and grandparents about how they used to grow various crops and used to raise animals and compare them with what's happening now and come back to the classroom and talk about this, because I think this is where a lot of the academic disciplines are taught separately from any actual problems the country faces. So that's what I've been had. Yes, Tom, you've attended a couple of Zoom meetings with us before on this. Andy, do you want to say anything from the Lacluta perspective?
Yes, I think this is Friends of Lacluta, which is Wangaratta or the Ovens Valley based, and I think somehow we sort of ended up with one of the most isolated communities, one of the most damaged communities. It was the centre of resistance, back in that sort of early 80s period, and the people still live in the resettlement areas down the sort of mountain. And actually, there is an initiative to build a new road across the mountains, which in fact will open up the areas which were the traditional agricultural areas. But basically, there's not enough land around Dilor, which is part of Lacluta. We've tried the school garden thing. We spent a fair bit of money on that, and it's been, dare I say, an abject failure. We've also worked with the local farmers to set up a sort of model gardens, and that has also not worked. So we're sort of in trouble. And the other day, our liaison officer, who is, thankfully, we've got a brilliant liaison officer, and he's not coming to Australia this year. He's one of the guys who coordinates the Timorese workers, but he can't come this year. Anyway, he sort of pressed the button the other day and said, there are real problems in Dilor. And so we're in a situation where we're thinking, should we start to try and put some of our resources into the immediate food nutrition area? Yeah, that's about, I guess, what I'm going to say. So we really have tried, but with a lot of success. So I think we made to sort out our priorities, whatever we can do from Wangaratta into a very isolated part of Timor-Leste. But it's becoming less isolated. So we think that by the end of this year, it'll be maybe 3.5 hours to Dili, rather than, I think it was 6 or 7 hours that it took me in 2019. So thanks very much, Helen, for running this, by the way. I've only just got onto this particular Zoom. But thank you very much.
And it's Moira again, and yes, of course, it's, you know, different communities, different dynamics, and so on. And Maliana is what, it's a town. There's a number of sucos in that town, of course, but it's very close to a productive agricultural area. And one of the things that the Biblioteca does, or has been doing, and not so much in the past year, obviously, is going around to local sucos or more remote areas and villages, and bringing books and information and sharing those informations with the local community, or maybe at the local primary or school as well, where people can gather in the suco meeting places and so on. So again, having that information would be useful to distribute. And I've just managed to, because there's a link there to that recipe book with the fish. I couldn't get it through the government side, the Australian government side, but there was a second link sent to me, and I've been able to download that. So I'll be sending that over to the Biblioteca, and you know, they will then, because there are computers at the Biblioteca too that people can come into, but they can also print off some recipes or share those recipes with other people, and any other recipe books or information we're quite happy to distribute either through into the local villages or at the library itself, and it can be both digital and hard copy.
Yes, well, that's interesting. The one of the things we're doing in recommending to the Minister of Education in terms of the secondary curriculum is also making sure that every school has a proper library connected to the internet, and with multimedia, with books, with print materials, online materials, films, videos, all that sort of stuff. It's to enable project-based learning to be done in the school. And actually, Leo is here, one of my colleagues has been advising on that. Now, I see also Dr. Kapil Dave has his hand up. Would you like to say something very quickly? Are you there still? And then we've also got two of our, we've got Elvie and Elga. We'll also talk.
Good
Paula,
afternoon.
sorry, Paula, we haven't given her a go yet. Yes.
Good afternoon,
Yes.
colleagues. I remember last time I have heard Madam Dema's and Madam Debra's comments. So we must include the health education as well as local food in particular Pacific area. But do remember, because my concern is if we include too much local food or indigenous food, sometime it's lead us towards obesity, overweight, because my field is sports science and physical education, and I have seen too much use of local foods without checking their nutrient value. Sometimes it's lead us towards in different direction. For the shorter time of period, it is good to restrict or to give value towards our economy, but sometimes it's not good for our future as well. I have just mentioned in my chat box regarding these issues. Also remember, we need to check their physical activity, means daily activity, how much they are spending time, and after calculating all these things, we need to address that issue, because so many times we are making our conclusion and putting our recommendation to them without considering these small issues, and sometimes it's lead us in a different direction. So it is my just suggestion, later or sooner you can include or you can think about that one, because these are the important issues with the local community. And once we start these kind of things from the primary or secondary schools, especially, we can avoid a lot of things which occur later on. So it's just my suggestion, and I'm just sending you few more means my suggestion in your chat box. Thank you so much.
Right, good, thank you. Now you're from physical education, which I don't know whether Timor has a lot of physical education as yet, but I know there is a department at UNTL I'm busy trying to get accredited. But I think that in Australia, the physical education teachers actually teach quite a lot about healthy lifestyle, including, I think, a bit of nutrition. Now, Paula Torres, are you there? Paula from Agora Food Studios. Paula, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear, but the internet is like slowly, so
Oh, you've got.
I'm getting low.
Would you like to say something about your project? Because this is one of the things we originally thought of inviting you when we got the idea of the Food Champions. I'll unmute you, or are you unmute? Oh no, hang on, that's not the way you do it, is it? Oh gosh. Can you unmute yourself, Paula?
Yes. Hear me now? Sorry, my internet got
Yes.
slow. So basically, what our food studio and Timor-Me doing at the moment to contribute to zero hunger and to nutrition, we do with noodles revolution. Like Timor-Me and Agora Food Studio partners, we not like this year we create local noodles from local ingredients like moringa, pumpkin, sweet potato that have high nutrition level. And with this old recipe, we try to share to the community, local community. For example, like this year we do in Becora, Kamea, we share them how to cook noodles, how to make noodles with local ingredients, and then we show them how to cook combination, like how to do creative, because we believe that everyone in the community, they are really intelligent, they really have their own recipe to each food. That's why we bring this recipe and we promote them, we promote and we share to them. We also learn from their recipe in their hometown, and we put in, we combine, we do combination with the noodles. So it start from the children until elder people. And this year we also work together with UNDP to do food distribution to Baucau, to Covalima, Waikusi, with the noodles. And yeah, and then with the experience that community receive, they're really surprised, and then they're really enthusiasm to learn more this technique, because normally they use pumpkin and pumpkin and sweet potato, they just boil it and then just eat with this chili. But these are really new and they're all happy. And then when we share this,
Oh yes, we're unfortunately losing sound there, but that is a very brilliant idea, the idea of Timor noodles.
And we need to cancel it. We need to cancel it because we cannot go to anywhere, like due to the lockdown. So
this is the
now we try to video how to cook noodles combination with the local ingredients, like what they have in their home, like if they have what green vegetables that they have, because eat nutrition food, not only food that are expensive, but you can eat something like cheap as well. So that's what we share them.
Yes. Now we seem to have
with this combination of community recipe. And then this menu we also sell in a water food studio, do some catering as well with the noodles, and not only noodles, but we also do like some we also go to the community to learn them like what the food that they have in the community, like in the past, like for example, like in the past, for like tukir, like rotok, like that in the beginning. So we also do storytelling, food storytelling with this old food, and then the food that already in ancestor people already forgot, we try to bring it up, and then do like innovation, and then use each one creativity to bring the story that already or people not already forget. We bring it back. Yeah, that's what we do at the moment with to contribute to nutrition.
No, well, look, that's fantastic. I've actually bought some of your pumpkin noodles at Pateo and had them. They're very delicious. Yes, and let's hope they can become better.
And then what?
Yes.
Wow, and then what do you cook combination with? Can you share with us like what did you cook with? And
sorry, now who was saying?
I was
now,
just
sorry, who just asked me something then? Hustus. Elvie, would you like to say something?
Yeah, so
yes, Paula, yeah.
Oh, hi.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. The internet connection is on and off, so
it's very
yeah, so better I can turn off the video, so it's easy for make it easier.
We'll just listen to you. Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for inviting me here. I'm very happy to join here and discuss about the nutrition. As I'm doing right now, I'm the young social enterprise that I start this venture about fruit salad shop in March 2018. Until now, it is already 3 years from now. So yeah, so why we are doing this venture? Because as the data show that 46% of children under 5 like get chronic malnutrition. So, and also most of Timorese people, they are lacking of knowledge about plating a good food, like nutrition food, a balanced diet. So that's why we can selling a good nutrition, like selling fruit, fresh fruit, to communities and also to people who are like come to our shop. Besides that, we also want to employ other young Timorese people, because as we know that in Timor, there's very hard to find a job for young people. That's why we want to open our own and then create a job for other people, other youth like us. And also we buy these local fruits from the local farmers. Until now, we already have much connection with the local farmers, which they are growing fruits. We actually buy our strawberry from Mobisi, and now they are and now they are making more production about frozen strawberry, and we are happy to hear that. And also we buy our watermelon from Swai and also Hera. So while we are doing this venture, we are very happy because most of our customers, they are getting to know how to being healthy, how to be in diet, like healthy diet, and provide them education about healthy diet, like other people do, like Paula's project. So
yes,
yeah, just go back to my experience about, I don't study about nutrition, but before that I also know I study in community development in UNTL.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So as my I have a little bit about my nutrition experience about nutrition with GDN. I'm one of the founder of GDN.
Ah, yes, yes.
Yeah. So first we held the nutrition project in Turiskai, which is motivate me how I see the fact that people in rural area, they really lack of information about nutrition. So this is why pushing me as a young people, as a young woman, to start the business about nutrition. So yeah, this is now I am. I think I have no more.
Yes, well, thank you very much. This shows the great value of community development graduates. You know, we helped set up that department at UNTL, so I'm very pleased to see one of its graduates getting into such an innovative area. So congratulations. Now, I can see Jose Mazzacco here, and also I was going to ask Sheila Bayard if you wanted to say anything about gender issues. We haven't talked about gender issues. Sheila's with the United Nations Association of Australia's Status of Women Committee, which I'm also a member of, and occasionally take part in their Zoom meetings, because I think gender is a big hidden issue in the whole discussion about food. Maybe we haven't got time to get into it at the moment. But just recalling on the gender issue, the famous anthropologist Margaret Mead criticised the colonial system of making men responsible for food before it leaves the farm and women responsible for food after it leaves the farm, and splitting them up and calling one agriculture and the other one home economics, and having two different sets of qualifications for. And the one that women were responsible for, she said, will inevitably become low status and may drop out. And actually, this is what's happened in Timor. Home economics as a science, as a subject, as an area of knowledge, completely dropped out of the education system in 2002. And agriculture still continues, but it's getting low status too. Agriculture is so low status that students leaving secondary school avoid it. The hidden curriculum of education says try to avoid being a farmer. So how on earth is the issue of nutrition and food going to be addressed if everything to do with it is so low status? This is talking about it from the sociological point of view. Now, I don't know. Jose, do you want to say something first? Then we'll ask Sheila if she would like to say something. If she's not frozen. I think you might be frozen, Sheila, eh?
No, I'm not. I see
Paula.
Helen, Paula was also trying to come back in.
Oh, Paula. Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes. Yes, do you want to say something? Paula? Maybe she's having difficulty with the technology.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes?
Sorry. I mean, I clicked the wrong one. Sorry.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Okay. Now, Jose Mazzacco, are you there still? Would you like to say a few words? Jose has got responsibility for nutrition within the World Bank, I understand. Jose, are you there? You've unmuted yourself. Can you hear? I know he's having a big problem connecting. So maybe we'll carry on with Sheila saying something.
Thank you, Helen, and thank you everyone for having me as a guest tonight. I'm someone who worked with Helen in the past at Victoria University.
We did at Victoria University, yes.
Of course, when we're looking at sustainable development goals, the question about women and girls and their situation relative to the other goals undercuts everything. I didn't really want to speak about that so much tonight. I think because I'm pleased to see people here from Wangaratta, and I particularly have contact with Anne Wigglesworth and the Friends of Suai group in Melbourne. I'm interested in what one could call the people in Australia who are particularly interested in overseas development aid and support for education and so on. Let's say friends of Timor-Leste. And it's very difficult for us to understand, to be well informed as to what the particular needs are. And I have a family member who's very interested in alternative technology as a kind of key element in the future for rural people, I think, in East Timor. But it is very helpful to be able to do as I did today. We say you do a Google, you look to see what you can find. So in the chat, I posted that I had to look at what the World Food Programme was saying. Now there you find attractive photographs, you have some data, it tells you about cereal prices, which
Oh, now maybe she's dropped out. Can you still hear us? Sure.
World Food Programme about East Timor tells us, Rob, I think that grains, imported and local, the prices are steeply increasing. And I think that's something that is hard for people to understand in Australia. Well, we need to have information about all of these relevant factors to the matters being discussed. It's one thing, Helen, to say that, and as, is it Rob said something, or Tom said something about whether you can be running programs even at primary school level. Now, we've had a bit of a revival of interest led by sometimes by people who are nutritionists or who are opinion leaders on nutrition in Australia to try and increase the idea of primary school children here, even in Australia, even in the metro areas, running gardens and then preparing the food from the things they're growing in the school garden.
Yes.
That is not routine everywhere. Yes. So that's vital. So when I went to secondary school, I did learn the elements, even in primary school, we were taught elements of nutrition. And I think there's a big void in modern Australia. So, you know, it can work. That's unfortunately the way it's working in Australia and the way it is in East Timor. But we need, if we are to be encouraging governments and charitable organisations to direct their activities appropriately for East Timor, we have to hear from people like, well, in Papua New Guinea, in the Pacific more generally. We need to have good information coming to us. Thank you.
Good, thanks. Now, Jose, can you hear us? Could we hear a bit from you? Are you there? Jose, he's unmuted himself, I think. Unless he's dropped out completely, but it's still there. Jose Mazzacco was actually one of our community development graduates from Victoria University. before he came back home to Timor and started working here. So, and we had a good conversation last week about the whole role of something done by the government called scaling up nutrition. Anybody? And I hope to get some people from Scaling Up Nutrition here today, but I don't think anyone is here from that organisation. It operates out of the Prime Minister's office. Do you know anything about it, Jenny? Have you heard of Scaling Up Nutrition? Nobody heard about it who's on this. Elga,
Sorry.
have you heard of yes?
Yes, I think, sorry, I was unmute. I had to unmute. Elga's probably the best person to speak if she's available, because some of the JDN members have been to orientations on scaling up nutrition, but it is something we have talked briefly to the Dr. Olinda from the Department of Health about. But in terms of more recent update, I don't know if you have any more information, Elga. Oh, unmute.
Elga, are you
She's
there?
talking, but we can't hear her.
Yes, yes,
Unmute.
I'm there. I'm here.
Yourself. Ah, good, Elga.
So based on what we know about the scaling up nutrition, so in here the progress that we have invited by the Shefi head department of nutrition department in the nutrition department, Dr. Olinda, we had a talk show in there, and then we call it about what we have done to achieve the nutrition, and then what the government and also us to involve community to deeply know and then achieve the goals that strategic goals that already put in the policy. So the more information about the scaling up nutrition,
unfortunate. I think she might have been cut off. Elga, can you hear us? We can't hear you, unfortunately.
Yeah, because my internet.
It's your internet. Look, I think we're going to have to get Timor or somebody to teach us how to get onto their system. I think this Timor Telecom and these private providers of internet.
We could all hear Elga. Okay, Helen.
Can you?
Yeah. Well, not now because she's not talking.
Oh, right. Well, keep going then, Elga. Yes.
Sorry.
She dropped out now.
So it is part of a worldwide movement, scaling up nutrition, and it is to promote multidisciplinary approaches towards addressing the problems of malnutrition and infant mortality. So we're aware of the approach that it's following, but not really up to date with where what work has been done this year so far. Yeah,
Right.
Apart from initial discussions about adopting the approach here, and what the targets are, which are across the whole scaling up nutrition movement. But in terms of the practicalities, we can't really report on that at this stage.
Right.
But it's something we will follow up, actually. We'll follow that up with Dr. Olinda, and we've indicated our willingness, and she's asked us for our proposal as far as involvement in promoting, in doing what we're doing at the local level, educating young people and young mothers. So, but there hasn't been any follow-up since there.
That would be good. It would be good to know whether they see any role for education in it too, because one finds education, formal education often gets left out of these. Yes, did you? Now,
Yeah.
Thema,
So
I wonder
it
if
is,
you would
Helen,
like,
it is
yeah.
across the sectors of agriculture. Across the sectors of agriculture, education, social protection. Yeah, so that's theoretically, yes.
Oh, right. Now, Thema and Bola from Fiji, who's been sitting through this meeting, was with us last week and spoke a little bit about the Fiji National Nutrition Committee, and in a sense gave us the idea for this session here, because it was Jake who said, it was Thema who said you need a champion for anything to be successful, and then Jake said, let's bring all the Timorese champions together. So I just wonder if you've got any observations, Thema, about what might be successful or what has been successful in Fiji in the past that you think Timor might learn from. And unmute yourself, unmute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can, yes. Good.
Thank you, Helen, and everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to join your discussion group. Jemima was on this discussion group. She's disappeared, unless she's still...
was, yes. We heard a bit from her at the beginning, yes.
Okay, all right.
Before you arrived, actually, yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, I think we need a pool of champions. A pool of champions, because it seems it's multi-sectoral, and for every sector, there needs to be a pool, a person who can identify as a champion, you know, somebody who's actually high profile. I mean, just short of the president, maybe, could be the president. One in agriculture, one in health, child health, maternity health, and even in nutrition. The other is that, that's one, we must have a pool of champions. We need to sort of identify them from the local community in East Timor. One thing that I heard tonight, I think I made a chat on it. You know, I'm concerned that we're blaming local foods for overweight and everything. We know in the Pacific, it is imported processed food that actually causing the overweight amongst Pacific Islanders, even here in Fiji. That's one thing. Okay, maybe local food when consumed in, I mean, like everything else, everything in moderation. So that's one comment that I had some reservations about, saying local food is the cause of obesity or overweight.
No, look, I think that was your countryman, Dr. Dave, that suggested that, actually, and I noticed some debate going on in the chat room about it.
I'm quite surprised. Yes. And the other is that during the discussion today, the comment that there needs to be some discussion on the differences and the diversity in rural and urban access to food or availability of good food, good nutritious food. The bigger problem is not in rural areas. The big problem is actually in urban areas. Right now with COVID, a lot of people have lost their jobs. People are actually turning to imported foods. And you know, imported foods is actually much cheaper. Rice, flour, they're much cheaper than local indigenous foods, even vegetables. I think this is we need to really look at this. I'm quite surprised about the discussion on fruits. You know, fruits is a snack in the Pacific. It's not a food you bring to the table. When the 3 food groups was introduced, they included fruits, but it is a snack. Sociologically, it is a snack. You eat it when when it's there. There's always a fruit in season, as we know, but you eat it where it is. To bring it to the table, maybe not, but to bring it to the kitchen for children to have, yes. Maybe they did not include it in that the 3 food group. By the way, I heard FAO has recently has got 10 food groups. Does anyone know about it? 10 food groups.
10 food groups.
Yeah. Anyone has heard? FAO, the food and the UN FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. Let's ask the World Food Program.
No, I haven't
heard of that. I worked with somebody.
Now, what about?
And they said about 10 food groups. I actually got shocked because we were just grappling with 3 food groups. Now when it's 10, it's beyond my, yeah.
Well,
Somewhat,
these are subdivisions with, it could be useful to know. Leo, do you know anything about this? Leo used to work for the FAO.
yeah. 10 food groups.
Leo, have you heard anything about?
No, I have no idea.
It's a lot of discussion. Helen, I fully agree with you. It's multi-sectoral approach which needs to be done here in Fiji. I think this the use of local. In East Timor, is there a lot of imported food?
Yes.
From Australia,
We'll have a look for that. We'll research.
What is happening? There's music or something playing.
Because
am I breaking up? Maybe I'll leave it at that, Helen. That's some of the issues that I've picked up tonight. And my concern is that we're really, the imported foods in the diet of locals, whether in East Timor, here in Fiji, and in the whole of the Pacific, because imported food is actually, if you go to Solomons or Vanuatu, anywhere, rice is big, and flour. In Fiji, it's the same. But remember, if you're not aware, Fiji is multiracial. We have those of Indian background, Chinese, and we're so multiracial, and there's a lot of food exchanges between all the ethnic groups. So I think this is something that we'll have to look into. But I think we need to look at the role of, or where is imported food taking us to. And the thing is, they're more affordable. I wonder if it's the same in East Timor. Over to you, Helen.
Where's Helen?
Where's Helen? I'd like to hear from East Timorese whether local food is imported food is actually a problem there, because they're cheaper and people are consuming it in big amounts. I'm talking about rice, flour, oil, noodles, canned fish. Everything is canned. There are families here in Fiji who are just having coconut cream, rice and coconut cream for breakfast and tea. And in villages, if you eat local food, you're not progressive. If you're eating rice or flour in your meals, or you're people, your progressive family, you have a higher profile. This is actually the misconceptions that are around. I wonder what's like in East Timor.
Yeah.
One of the imported foods that's regularly eaten here is super meat, because it is so cheap. So students and others, families can prepare a meal with 25-cent purchase of the super meat and very little else. So I think the economic situation determines a lot in terms of people's ability to purchase tins of food. They're usually a lot more expensive than buying a fresh fish or vegetables at the local market. So you wouldn't buy a can of tomatoes, but you would definitely buy a whole pile of beautifully produced local tomatoes.
How about bread? Is it commonly available there? Bread in East Timor?
Yes.
Bread is
yes. The local communities produce fresh bread in the villages.
And people are just having bread and tea here in Fiji.
Could I ask a question about a supplement that's said to be being used, especially with pregnant and lactating women, which is a composite substance, which comprises some variety of high
right, now I think
value grain. Is it
I'm
called?
back now. We'll be drawing to a
Sorry, I don't think I have the background to comment on the question.
No, someone else may have. Helen, I don't know whether you can hear us. On again.
Yes, the World Food Program manages, I don't know if the nutritionist is
Yes,
still
I'm
here,
now just
but the
back
World
again,
Food
so-
Program distributes.
This substance, which is a mixture of perhaps lentil and some grain and some vitamins and minerals, a composite sort of porridge that has to be prepared. These are called Timor-Viva.
Yes, there is a distribution of the food supplement. It's got a different producer now, but there is a distribution of that through some schools and some through some of the health promotion events that the Ministry of Health, the Municipality Health Services organise. There are times when there's no production and it's not distributed. But it's the World Food Program who distribute that and report on that distribution.
Thank you.
Okay, Helen, over to you. Is Helen around?
She's disappeared.
Oh, I hope yeah, well, that's all for my contribution for tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Unless anyone has any questions, I mean, just come to Fiji when the borders open.
It's nearly 9 o'clock, so I think I might go. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's almost 10, Suva.